Hey, it's Mark Housel. I was recently requested by Maureen to post a audio version of our latest blog, and I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to post a video, and hopefully they don't watch the video while they're driving, but they wanted this for when they're driving to work, which is very flattering. So here we go. It's what I need to remind myself more often as a teacher. I'm going to be reading, so I'll be taking my eyes off you every now and then. They say the older you get, the more you forget. I'm certain that I'm one of those people that have forgotten way more than they know about being a teacher. Here's a list of things I wish I would remember more often. How I felt the moment I met my oldest son for the first time. I was convinced that I was put on this earth to be his dad. I believed that everything else I had ever done was just practice to get me ready to be the father I needed to be. My hope is that with all my students is that there's at least one person out there that feels the same way about each one of them as I feel about my own sons. It might not always be the case, and I need to remind myself of that more often. I'm always at my best when I'm less concerned about my lesson and more concerned about who it's for. That kid who occasionally, or more than occasionally, drives me crazy in the younger grades is going to walk out of our school in about 4 or 5 years and never come back. On their last day of school, I'll be standing there with tears in my eyes, waving and feeling forever grateful that I got the opportunity to be their teacher. When I'm jumping out of my skin excited about a lesson that I'm teaching, I never seem to have much trouble with classroom management. I need to find more ways to be jumping out of my skin excited about what I'm teaching. Today is a new day. It's a new beginning for me, my students, my classes, a new opportunity to improve on how we did last week, month, and year. I need to remind myself and my students of this more often. In order to break a negative cycle with our students, something has got to change, and maybe it's me. I need to remember all the impromptu reunions. I'm lucky enough to live in the same town that I teach in, and I can't tell you how many times I've had former students come rushing up to me for a hug, handshake, or a talk. On the days where I feel like I can do nothing right, I gotta remember these moments. I must remember to ignore people who scoff at teachers and say we have an easy job. I would gladly lend my sneakers to anyone, anytime, to come into my classroom and show me just how easy it is. I have the two most important jobs in the world. I'm a teacher and a parent. Every day I have the opportunity to make a positive difference in the lives of children, and I'm immeasurably blessed because of it. If I had to do it all over again, I'd be a teacher. I was born to do this. At least I feel like it. I must remember not to be surprised by what my students are able to accomplish. I've seen kids transcend unspeakable situations and overcome unbelievable odds too many times to be surprised, but yet I feel surprised often, and I do love those surprises, though. If given the opportunity, kids will always come up with better solutions to their arguments than we do. They have better ideas for fun, too, don't they? I need to remember why I became a teacher. I became a teacher to make a difference in this world, and what better way to make a difference than by teaching and caring for a child? I need to remember to be as enthusiastic as that bright-eyed kid who walked into Forest Avenue School in Glen Ridge, New Jersey 23 years ago. What we teach is important, but our content pales in comparison to who we're teaching for. Math, art, science, music, physical education, it's just a piece of the puzzle for the kids. Our primary job is not to put information in, but to bring potential out for all to see. Be as excited for my last lesson of the day as I am for my first. While I'm at it, I need to remember to be as excited for Monday as I am for Friday. I think we all could use a little bit of that. Some kids are going through unimaginable circumstances that we have no idea about. It's easy to get annoyed when talking and behavior gets in the way of a lesson. Everyone has a story. It always helps me when I take the time to try to understand where these people are coming from. I need to show and tell my students how much I care about them. I need to do this more often. I want them to know how badly I want them to do well in this world. My hope is that I'm in a constant state of showing them I care, but I definitely need to say it more often. I need to remember the miraculous odds of me being my student's teacher at all. Sorry to get all philosophical, but There are almost incalculable odds of any person being born on this planet. Think of all the things that had to happen just for you to be here. Take those odds of one person being born and multiply that number by a class of 20 students and one teacher. Think for a moment now all the things that could have happened that could have prevented us from being in that room together. It is truly a miracle, and I need to remember that more often. Smile more. Enjoy this time. My thought is that I most likely have many more years teaching behind me than I do in front of me. I love that Trace Atkins song, "You're Gonna Miss This." It's all the singing I'm doing for you. I don't want to look back on this and wish that I had more fun in the time that I had. Just be awesome in the moments that I'm in front of my students. All that paperwork that is due and the meetings and the flaming hoops to jump through and the hurdles to jump over are not going to get done when I'm with my students. That's when I try to tell myself, be awesome now and worry about all that other stuff later, and that's difficult to do sometimes. Sometimes it's not them, it's me. Perhaps the baggage that I'm bringing to school with me some days has more to do with how my lessons will go than anything else. I still can have a great day regardless of how my lessons go. If everything around me is turning into a Calgon commercial, that's a crazy, hectic, hot mess for any of those born after 1979. I can still remain calm and figure out a way to get their attention and use it as a teachable moment for my students. I have to remember to focus more on what can go right. So often I think of a new idea, I start coming up with the worst case scenarios. I think our brains are wired to protect us from new experiences, either negative or positive. While it's important to take all angles into consideration, sometimes it's more important to feel the fear and do it anyway. I have to remember how poorly behaved I was as a student in school. Hopefully that will help me with the students who struggle to keep it together as I did. I must remember not to make predictions for my students' futures based on their present performance. I get to have students for 6 years straight. I've never met a student who has not improved over that 6-year period. Most show dramatic improvement. I have to remember what a poor student I was and how little I liked most of what was associated with school. I was an incredibly late bloomer and never realized a sliver of my potential until I got into college. I have to remember that I can count on one hand the teachers that I felt truly believed in me growing up. They were the teachers that inspired me to be more than just a clown at the circus. And no offense if you're a clown at the circus. Most of my teachers were good to me, and I fully admit that I did not give them much to believe in. However, there were a couple teachers whose belief in me eclipsed all others. I need to strive to be that for my students. Thank you, Mr. McNabb and Mr. Jackson, for seeing more than me than I ever dreamed possible. What do you need to remember more often as a teacher, parent, spouse, friend? Props once again to my awesomely talented brother, Eric Housel, who does all the artwork for my blog. I really hope you enjoyed this, and make today great. Keep moving. Thanks so much for watching.